Hello viewers, hello gainers. I'm Ralphie, your host on this particular channel called Fitter Philosophy. And my subject for this 5 to 10 minute video is politeness. This is a philosophical channel, practical experience-based philosophy. And I want to talk about politeness and go slightly beyond it into the topic of civility. Because politeness is part of civility. And we live in a world where politeness is more or less taken for granted. That there will be a certain calibre of interaction between humans which is nice and respectful. But this isn't always the case. It depends on the circumstances. When we're talking one-to-one, particularly with strangers where we have no frame of reference, politeness is very necessary because it allows the person we're communicating with to feel more comfortable with us and give them space and time to get their bearings so that there can be a certain amount of communication to find common ground on which to proceed. When we meet people for the first time and they are totally over familiar or plain rude, overly aggressive, we immediately react to that by backing off, by creating distance, and in doing so we're retaining our civility. We're remaining polite because although we might be tempted to give someone a smack in the face, we don't want to inflame the situation too quickly, because it's how humans tend to get on. And bear in mind, human relationships are a much more complex affair than we're ever told about at school, and it's something that comes with personal experience. We have to know ourselves first to really know others better. That's certainly the case. But the mechanism of politeness, being polite, is a very important part of that, and it's a two-way process. It's how we communicate to others and how we allow the space which we allow and create for people to communicate with us. And if it happens to be in a shop, we say please and we say thank you, which are the first words we should ever learn when we're learning another language. Please and thank you. I can remember many years ago I was in Paris in France when it was a more beautiful city and not as troubled as it is now. And I had a little bit of French, but importantly, s'il vous plaît, please, and merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. So important. Particularly when accents and pronunciation is a little bit naive sound. So as well as slowing things down, we always interact with please and thank you. It demonstrates immediately that we're making a tangible effort to be respectful within another society, another community, and another language. And it carries a lot of currency. In fact, it becomes a superpower because people are far more prepared to engage positively with us if the very, very first experience that they have with us is one of positivity. It sets the boundaries. Likewise, and this is always demonstrated, someone who rushes in too aggressively, who raises their voice, that gives all the negativity language signals, they tend to get met with negativity because the spoken word and the behaviours and the actions that accompany the spoken word as part of our communication to those around us, however we intend them, they translate very, very quickly and give very fast impressions. And once people have a bad impression, it is far more difficult and takes far longer to start to claw things back to make them positive again. Particularly when we have a transient experience with someone, a friend of a friend, someone working in a shop, someone that we pass in the street and we just move aside a little bit to let them through. This matters. It really matters, because how we treat others is an investment in how we expect others to treat us. And when people treat us badly because of lack of civility, a lack of politeness, and worse, we know exactly where we stand with them and we move on. We move away and we move on, and they are not in the picture. So they do not benefit from the positives that we can bring to the communication, because it's just not there. Whereas when people are positive, it's affirming, and even a brief exchange can be substantial, it can be meaningful. A few words shared on a pavement, in a shop, a connection of eyes, all of a sudden the value of the communication amplifies, particularly when it's positive, and it amplifies positively, and as such we carry it on with us. And the more we are invested, particularly from personal experience, in a positive communication with others, the more we are able to narrow down the positive people out there whose acquaintance, whose friendship is going to be positive influences in our life. And when people are not polite to us, in other words, rude and disrespectful, not only do we create distance from them, but importantly, we actually remove their presence from our energy field so that they do not damage and contaminate it. And I've noticed over the years, people who have had too many bad relationships, whether with family, friends, or whatever, and it started to haunt them. Now, when people are haunted by relationships, it means that they're overly influenced by either usually the negativity of those relationships, whether brief or more substantial as you get within a family circle. But it works the other way. I've seen people who are greatly enhanced by the positivity of the relationships within the family, within the group of friends, within the community, within the environment. It all adds up, it all compounds together like interest in a stock market account. And they've blossomed from it. They have found life easier because they're more focused on the positivity of what they can do, rather than dwelling on the negativity and downscaling of what they can't do. It's a subtle thing, and I'm going to conclude with this. It's good to meet bad people in life. It's good to meet psychopaths in life, sociopaths. It's good to meet the people that within a short space of time you're enormously glad you do not share much of your life with them, because they're so negative. Because they remind us of the quality, the actual quality of the lives that we often take for granted. And wherever these people go, with their rudeness and incivility, that is what they will encounter. And it will sink them like a ship. Whereas politeness, that superpower that translates into every language and every culture, it's the reverse. It lifts people. It enhances our value to the world. And what we give out into the world is what we get back.